Hey, this is Gary with Today for Tomorrow. I'm in Deerfield Beach, Florida at the Fruitful Field. I'm in, I believe, 8 acres of regenerative agriculture that was once just infill, basically construction lot. It's an amazing place. It has an amazing story. I'm here with Noah Siegel. Noah's going to tell you all about it. Noah, thank you so much for having me. Why don't you tell us what's happening here?
Awesome. Thank you for supporting, coming out. So the Fruitful Field started in about 2006. It started with a small little community plot, and we've grown every single year and expanded this site to this very simple mission: to teach people about regenerative and sustainable agriculture and to provide produce to the local communities.
So first of all, those are two incredible things, and I love the way that you're combining them. I'm so excited to get out here and explore. I know you have this basically broken down into a few different types of agriculture. You want to explain that really quick before we get into it?
Yeah, so we do a couple of different approaches here. Regenerative agriculture is the kind of the overarching ideas, the principles that we follow. Within that, we have a lot of agroforestry setups, different types: food forestry, permaculture, and syntropic. And then we do traditional annual cropping systems with a regenerative kind of flair. And then we have community plots for the community to come and grow, and we teach them and guide them through the season.
Fantastic. I'm super excited. Let's get out in the garden.
Great. So a regenerative principle that we utilize is called polyculture or polycropping. So a lot of the conventional agriculture will grow one crop at a time. We call that monocropping. But here we want to create as much biodiversity as we can, and we even do that within our rows. So if this row here, there's Tokyo Bacana growing on the inside, but then you also see Tuscan kale growing at the same time. Same with here, we have Tokyo Bacana, but even within that, there's kind of like a forestry type little emergent of Ethiopian kale. So it's something that we carry out throughout. There's like mixtures of polycropping even within one single row.
It's beautiful, and you can see it at work there. It's amazing how nice that is. I noticed something when we walked through here, the compost there. Let's talk a little bit tell me about your compost here.
Yeah, so I strategically placed passive little compost heaps around the fields, just so if there's ever like cauliflower leaves that we're pruning off, or any pruning or any weeding, we can kind of throw in this heap. I usually use bananas around the heap. It provides lots of different things. It actually helps break down compost, sucks water into the soil. And yeah, it's super passive. I'm not like checking temperatures, but in Florida you can kind of just like let things degrade and decompose over time, and you'll get pretty good compost. Mostly we're getting worm castings in this type of compost. So we can look in these bins. These are sifted.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sifted bins. You can see this stuff is...
Look how beautiful that is.
Pretty casting heavy.
Yeah.
The castings that we have in Florida mostly come from these ivory millipedes rather than earthworms. But the castings are very, very good from the millipedes, and we really love it. And it's such an important part to our soil, especially because we have such sandy soil here. Adding that worm casting makes it more loamy, and that's what we're trying to get to, is that sandy loam.
Yeah, Noah, I mean, speak to that for a second. Like, this was, you told me, I believe, like a construction staging lot.
Right.
I imagine that was basically like crushed lime rock and just, for the wall they were building, where, if you can probably hear it, we're right next to I-95.
Right, yeah. So this was a staging site for building this wall. So there was huge heaps of like mixing materials for concrete, and big like gravel, sand, and all over. I have overhead shots from 2004.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
There's nothing here, and there's just huge heaps, and there's big bulldozers and excavators and things just like on the site. So that's the main tenet of regenerative agriculture is using this degraded soil that seemingly has no life in it, and using the power of nature to revitalize the soil and bring all the life back, and then of course grow plants in it which sequester carbon into the soil and have the structures that hold the carbon for thousands of years.
Fantastic. And look at it now. I mean, can you imagine the difference here from what it once was to what it is now? 8 acres of this.
food pantry this morning, actually. We got some food.
So nice this time of year because you can do all these annuals.
So this, we call this the syntropic section of the Fruitful Field. Syntropy is a really cool agroforestry technique. You grow in these rows of fruit trees that stratify themselves, meaning there's canopy layers. The tenets behind it is permaculturally based with sustainability and mimicking a forest system, but it also has the benefit of being really highly productive in yields and sequestering a lot of carbon. So at the Fruitful Field, our mission is to provide produce to people, and Syntropy has the ability to grow upwards of 40,000 pounds per acre per year. So it's an insane productive system. And this is very new. We planted this a couple weeks ago, actually. It's just very, very young. And it's a tropic style, so it's patterned, and there's different layers and canopies. We use different types of trees that grow taller than others to shade and help support. And then we use a lot of biomass plants. We threw seed bombs in between all these trees, and they'll grow, and we'll cut them. We use things like Mexican sunflower as a chop and drop. We just put these in. They're actually starting to take now, to chop, and then we'll use clumping grasses as well as another biomass source to just kind of keep feeding this, keep it super productive, and in a few years we'll have a lot of fruit to provide to the local communities.
And what was in this location, Noah, before? Had you planted this location? Was it annuals or?
No, so this was all this invasive Melaleuca that you can still see some of it here. Not really providing us with anything. I mean, they are trees, so there's nothing wrong with the tree, but I had a vision to make this a more productive site for the community. So we started clearing this about a year and a half ago, little by little, and adding loads and loads and loads of mulch to the soil, because the soil here was probably some of the worst in terms of rock and just like fill sand. It was basically nothing. So I raised this up about 3 feet with mulch. And now we can see it's starting to break down, and there's some really good stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful. I can tell already in my mind's eye what this is going to look like in 3 years.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
It's exciting.
Yeah. A quick stop on the way to the greenhouse to see some beautiful eggplants.
Have you grown the fairy tale eggplants?
No.
Beautiful, like white, speckled.
Let me get closer in there. Yeah. As we continue on towards the greenhouse, I just want you to look at 8 acres of just verdant and bountiful agricultural systems and food that Noah and the people before him and the people that are working with him now have created out of basically nothing, a parking lot. And it's just a dream and a lot of hard work. And it's a true testament to what regenerative agriculture is all about. Repairing that soil, bringing back life to an area where we had stripped it from, making it bountiful, bringing in the biodiversity, sinking the carbon, lowering our carbon footprint, regenerating that soil, everything that goes along with it. It's a wonderful thing to see, and we need to do more of this in our inner cities. And using this to help food insecure people is just amazing. You guys do any harvesting of the moringa?
So the moringa I strategically place and tell anyone at any time, no matter the day, no matter the time, come in here and harvest as much as you want of the moringa. That's why I place it. It's literally for the community. The annual veggies, you have to come to me and ask me to harvest, just because there's certain ways to harvest the annual veggies to keep them productive. But the moringa is free game. Anyone can come in at any time and harvest as much as they want. Such a good, amazing plant.
It really is. So here's your greenhouse.
Yeah, so this is the greenhouse. There's 2 sections here. There's the front where we grow a lot of the seedlings for the fields, all the annuals. In the back, we're working on starting a aquaponics / hydroponics setup. Keeping it, we're experimenting with using our compost teas as the hydroponic solution, trying to keep it like organic as we can. And aquaponics is super cool. It uses fish to provide both a meat source through fish and provide ammonium for the plants to grow and filter out.
So aquaponics, if you're not familiar with it, really fascinating. It's a closed loop system where you're feeding the fish, whose wastes are in return feeding the plants, who in return are cleaning up the water for the fish. It's amazing. I've actually done it on a recreational scale in my own backyard using these IBC totes, one big tote as the fish pond, and I think it was 2 or 3 I used halves, as he has back here, as the beds, and I used clay, using, looks like the lava rock.
A mixture of both.
Yeah, a mixture of both. Lava rock tends to be a little sharp, but it was incredibly easy for me. I don't know how you found it. I jump started it with the seaweed slurry, and I put fish in it the same day, and it never failed on me. I know it's kind of new for you here. I don't know if you've had any success with it yet, but just talk about it if you would.
Yeah, so our old one was on the other side, and it was super productive, and we loved it. It just wasn't the Aussie pine started to grow as they do, and shaded that out almost completely over there. So we were like, okay, we need to find a spot in which it won't be shaded, because light is also still important to the system for the plants. So yeah, we started moving it over here piece by piece and kind of redoing the filtering system. Like this is a newly designed, imagined filtering, 3-way filtering system. And then we also have this craft key method, which is a hydroponic kind of method that we're going to be using, brewing teas with the compost, and also with the waste from the fish we'll utilize as a nutrient for the craft key method, and same with the NFT, the film technique. Hydroponic will use the either compost tea or some sort of fish emulsion that we make from the fish waste.
Super exciting. The one thing I did find, just if any of you guys are curious and you really want to do this, it is something you can do. It's easy, but you need reliable power. If you lose a pump, you're in trouble. So maybe backup. And then also the fish food, if you're just buying commercial fish food, can be rather expensive. And there are options for that. I don't know if you have the ability to grow your own duckweed or whatever. There's some pretty cool things you can do.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Duckweed's great, we use it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah.
So this area here is the origins of the Fruitful Field. The person named Flavio, he's the one that started the Fruitful Field, and he really just wanted to invite the community in and give them a space to get their hands in the soil and to grow and to connect with nature. So this is where the Fruitful Field started in 2006-ish. Before it was even a nonprofit, it was here on these little plots, these 10 by 10 plots, so people from the community can come. It's $40 for the whole year. They can grow whatever they want to grow except for trees, and we help guide them if they're new growers. But a lot of these community plot members just grow whatever they want, and they come harvest. Like this is a beautiful little system here someone's got going on. And yeah, just if you have like an apartment, you don't have a backyard, or you don't have you live a condo or something, there's a space here for you to grow. So.
Super cool. This is what every community needs, really, to get everybody back in touch with how we feed ourselves. At the end of World War II, almost half the food that hit our tables came from stuff like this. Now it's less than 1%. Yep. But hey, Noah, thank you so much for sharing this with us today. We really appreciate it. And I would be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to explain a little bit more about how people can get involved in this wonderful thing you've got going here.
Awesome. Thank you for coming and supporting us. So the Fruitful Field, this is one of 3 sites that we have that we manage. There's one here, this is Deerfield Beach. There's one in Pompano, which is called the Patricia Davis Community Garden. And there's one in Dania, called the Dania Beach Patch. All doing the same thing, all community gardens, all providing education for growing and providing produce to people in need. This site particularly, you can come Monday, Wednesday, Fridays in the mornings, usually from 8 to 11 if you want to come volunteer. And also you can come during that time to get produce. We are part of Florida's FAB, which is Fresh Access Bucks, which if you have SNAP EBT, you get an additional 50% off our produce here and at all of our sites. We're all part of that program. Good.
Amazing. Really good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, remember, it's the little things we do in our daily lives today. This is no little thing, but it's the individual efforts we make today that just pay huge dividends for all of us tomorrow.